Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Preservation Board. I'm going to call a roll to establish who is present. Commissioner Richardson, are you here?
Here.
Commissioner Killeen, are you here?
Present.
Commissioner Robinson, are you here? Commissioner Hamilton, are you here?
Here.
Commissioner Allen, are you here?
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert, Commissioner Hamaker, are you here?
Here.
Alderman Coder, are you here?
Here.
Chair Callow is here. Commissioner Robinson, have you arrived? Meg, do we know?
I'm sorry. What was the
Tony
question?
here?
Pardon?
Is Tony expected?
Yes, he'll be a half an hour late.
Okay. That roll establishes a quorum. Commissioners, take a look at the agenda for Monday, September 26, 2022. Does anyone need to recuse themselves from discussion or consideration of any of these items? Okay, commissioners, is this the order in which we want to hear the items? It is apparently, so this will be our agenda unless I hear an objection. Okay, commissioners, now turn your attention to the minutes of August 22nd, 2022. Has anyone read them? And if so, do you have a motion regarding them?
I move we approve the minutes from August 22nd, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 22nd, 2022 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Can I abstain? Hamaker?
yes,
Thank you.
the minutes are approved without objection, but with an abstention. Okay, commissioners. Our agenda today has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, 7 items. 6 of them are appeals of director's denials. So we will proceed in our usual way as an administrative body, asking our staff and those who testify to affirm that they're telling the truth and for appellants to introduce a full record. Meg, would you explain to people how they sign up to speak, please?
Yes, if you would like to speak on an agenda item, please put your full name, first and last name, and the address of the agenda item into the chat box. We are restricting the chat so only the host can see it, but if you put your information in there, we will call on you when we get to that agenda item. Please note that comments made in the chat box do not count toward the public record. If you want something on the record, you have to speak it orally in this meeting. Also, for Preservation Board members, when you make a motion or second a motion, if you would please identify yourself before doing so that we can be sure that we are taking minutes properly. And if you are joining or leaving the meeting during the meeting, please let us know as well in the chat. Thank you.
Meg, are there any administrative changes you'd like to announce?
Yes, I would very much, introduce Bennett Anderson right here. He joined our team about a month ago and is our new administrative assistant, and we are really excited to have him. He has an undergraduate degree in public administration and is fascinated by the workings of city government. So we're giving him some real insight into how all that happens, and he's just already a tremendous asset. But that does mean that we have to bid a very bittersweet farewell to Deneen Funk, who is maybe on camera somewhere. Deneen? There she is. Deneen has been with us for over a year and a half, and so since I've been here, and has been absolutely indispensable. I'm not sure what we're going to do without her, although we're sure Bennett's going to do a great job, but Deneen has really been such an asset to this office and to the Preservation Board. And I know I speak for everyone when I say that we wish her all the best, but that she will be missed.
Thank you very much. Okay, commissioners, beginning the meeting, calling 2528 Texas Avenue.
Okay. This is 2528. Texas. This is a permit application.
I hear an unsworn staffer beginning to speak.
Sorry. I swear to tell the truth. I'm Andre Gagan, swear to tell the truth, from the Cultural Resources Office.
Great.
And I need to enter into the record, ordinance 64689 is amended by 64925. The Fox Park Historic District Ordinance 66098, the agenda, the PowerPoint, the application, and my presentation. Okay. So this is a permit application for the installation of 2 internally illuminated wall signs. After discussing with the owner and the applicant, the size of one of the signs was reduced. So both the signs met the size limitations laid out in the Fox Park Historic District standards. However, the signs still would not comply with the standards for location and illumination. The application was denied and the owner has appealed that decision, and now it's being brought before the Preservation Board. This is location at the corner of Sydney and Texas. And this is the north elevation of the building. And then the,
On your screen.
oh, sorry. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, thanks. Sorry about that. Is it showing? Is it showing?
It said it started screen sharing. There we go.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is Texas. This is the building. This is location. And this is the north elevation and a close-up of where the sign is supposed to be going on that north elevation. This is the east elevation of the building where the second sign is supposed to be going up on the parapet at the top, basically between the cornice and the scupper. This is a mock-up of the sign on the north elevation. The one on the east elevation is similar. And this is a mock-up of the proposed internal illumination of the signs. And then and there's actually Sydney, not Shenandoah, sorry about that. This is across Sydney and looking east on Sydney towards Jefferson and Gravois. And this is looking south on Texas and north on Texas. Okay, so the signs do not comply as they would be internally lit, not lit from the front. And they would also be installed on the parapet, which is not allowed under the standards. The proposed signs have been revised to meet the size requirements, but front lighting is the only type of allowed lighting under the Fox Park Historic District standards. There have been no comments from the alderwoman, but the neighborhood has sent an email. I'll read that into the record. Preservation Board, the Fox Park Development Committee has several conversations with Michael Swartz. Our comments below relate to the specific design presented in the drawings dated 8/29/2022. We also spoke with Andre Gagan to understand the position of Crow and to encourage them to uphold the district standards. Typically, we offer a clear letter of support to this board or a letter explaining our opposition. In this instance, we are stating we do not have an opposition to the proposal based on the context below. It is the committee's understanding that Crow rejected the signs because it failed to comply in 3 areas relative to the Fox Park District standards. Location, signs are not allowed to be placed on parapet walls. Size, signs are not allowed to exceed 40 square feet. Illumination, signs may be illuminated from the front, but are not allowed to be internally illuminated. Our committee has reached the following conclusions, which have been endorsed by the Fox Park Neighborhood Association Board of Directors. Location, while the signs are not allowed on parapet walls in the Fox Park Historic District standards, we believe the primary reason for such limitations to ensure sign does not conflict with historic details and cornices. This particular building is of a scale that the parapet wall that is devoid of details in the area of the proposed signs. We do not believe placing the sign on these locations of the parapet walls is in conflict with the spirit of the standards and accept this location despite its location on a parapet wall. Size. Previous iterations of the proposal included one size that exceeded the allowable size. The applicant reduced the scale of the sign to comply with the 40 square feet maximum size in the 8/29/2022 submission. This revised design does not appear to conflict with the size requirements, and we offer no further comment. Illumination. The neighborhood is pleased that our standards have strict signage requirements. Internally illuminated signs are not allowed in our district, and we value this limitation. Should the applicant choose to provide a series of surface-mounted light fixtures with goosenecks or similar projections from the building, the sign could be illuminated from the front, complying with the historic district standards. That stated, the details of the 8/29 submission appear to be less visually intrusive than conditions that a surface mount fixtures would likely provide. The letters are individually mounted, each powered in concealed fashion without surface mounted raceway, and are proposed with dimmable ballast that would allow for fine tuning once constructed. The developer has assured the neighbors that the brightness can be fine tuned as needed should the sign throw excessive light to the neighbors or the street below. While we were hesitant to allow a precedent of internally illuminated signs, especially outside of the major commercial corridors of Jefferson or Grafway, the details and configuration of this particular signage design are not objectionable, and in this specific case may be preferred to traditional front source lighting. We do not object to this internally lit sign as detailed. Thank you for including us in the conversation. Jay Reeves, AIAL lead, AP Fox Park Development Committee Chair. And I believe the applicant is here. Do you have any questions for me?
Wait, Commissioners, we have a question for Ms. Gagan.
Is there anyone here in opposition, Andrea?
I don't believe so. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody else except the applicants signed up.
Okay. I guess I would ask the board if we need to even hear from the applicant, or if we could vote now.
I don't need to hear from them.
Commissioner Killeen, have you got a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial and allow this sign to be constructed as presented.
Is there a second?
Second,
Who made the second?
Alan.
Is there any discussion?
We've got a neighborhood that's okay with this. Alderman didn't check in, would like to hear from that person, but I think we're good to go with the neighborhood approval like this.
I'm pretty impressed by signs that can be dimmed, particularly letter by letter. I haven't looked through the Koken lately, but I bet you could have some fun with it. Okay, commissioners, I'm going to call a roll. Commissioner Richardson, there's a motion on the floor. It's been made and seconded. Do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamaker, do you vote yes or no?
Yes,
Was this your first vote?
I think so.
Congratulations. Alderman Coder, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, have you arrived yet? Commissioner Robinson is absent. The chair abstains from the vote. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yes votes, no votes, 1 abstention. Thank you, commissioners. The appeal is upheld.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, have we officially welcomed our new member here yet?
We taunted her before you arrived. Does that count?
I didn't know if I missed a meeting. Anyway, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thanks.
Commissioners, calling the next agenda item 2407, 2409 South 9th Street.
Okay. I am still Andrea Gagan, and I still sort of tell the truth. This is 2407 to 09 South 9th Street, located in the Soulard Historic District. I need to enter into the record ordinance 64689 is amended by 64925. The Soulard Neighborhood Historic District Ordinance 57078 is amended by 62382. The agenda, the PowerPoint, the application, and the presentation. Okay, so this is the building in question. This is the location. It's just south of Barton and 9th Street. Sorry. This is a closer view of the roofing that was installed without a permit. On May 24th, 2022, a city inspector noted that the existing composition shingles were being replaced on a mansard roof at 2407 to 09 South 9th Street. The inspector instructed the contractor, now who is the applicant, to apply for a permit, which he did. Efforts by the Cultural Resources Office to reach the applicant to inform him that the shingles did not comply with the historic district standards were unsuccessful. We then contacted the property owner, who put the applicant in touch with staff. The applicant was stated that the project was on hold because of the heat and would not be completed at that time. And the Cultural Resources Office was not aware that the work had already been done. Later, we learned that the work had already been completed. The application was denied, and the owner has appealed to the Preservation Board. Because this is a mansard roof, the installed shingles, need to replicate a slate shingle, or either B slate or a faux slate. The installed shingles neither replicate the proportions of slate, nor are they of a 3-tab design, which would be allowed under the historic district standards. The shingles were installed without a permit. And as I said, they did not comply with the material for roofing on mansard roofs. There has been no comment from the alderman. The neighborhood has kind of made an informal comment in an email. One of the their committee said that he would guess that they would be against letting this stand, but I don't have an official letter from them. And then,
So let me just clarify. Are you introducing that as evidence?
yes, I mean, yes, I read it. I can read it if you want exactly what he said. He said, not speaking for them,
I'm sorry,
but channel,
who said?
Walker Hamilton.
Okay, proceed.
He said, and not speaking for them, but channeling the rest of the PRT, which is their committee, I would guess that they would be against letting the stand.
Okay.
And then this is just some context. As you can see, there are a couple little mansards to the south of this, both of which have compliant shingles on them. And because this mansard had shingles previously, it can have a 3-tab or a slate line equivalent shingle instead of slate or a flow slate. And I believe the applicant is here and has a presentation.
Sorry, did you have a recommendation?
Oh, sorry. Yes, based on the preliminary findings, the Cultural Resources Office recommends that the Preservation Board uphold the director's denial of the roofing as did not comply with the Soulard Neighborhood Historic District standards.
Questions for Ms. Gagan by commissioners?
Chairman, it's Jack.
Yeah.
I guess, Andrea, could you clarify just the timeline on this? It sounds like somebody noticed the work, there was a stop work order, and then I'm a little confused what happened. Did they say they stopped working, but then finished the project anyway, or was it already done by the time the stop work order was issued?
I spoke to the inspector. He said that when he went out and saw it, they'd all been ripped off and half of it had been put back on. It was getting ready to storm, so he told them that it needed to be put up. He said, but if, and they said they were going to put the rest of them on. He said, well, he said that he told them, well, I hope they're the right shingles because you may have, otherwise you're going to have to take them off. And then they applied for permit. And at no time were we told by them that it was already done. And then the applicant actually told me that it was not going to be done, that it was going on hold and wasn't going to be done because of the heat. But after I talked to the owner, subsequent, actually when I was on vacation, we found out that it had already been done, and then that's when we denied it, and then it was subsequently appealed.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions?
Just a small question. Andrea, is there a list of approved slate and slate compatible products that the Cultural Resources Office has? I noticed the specification of a product here, and I'm just wondering if that's something you hand out to these roofing contractors who think what we see here looks like real slate.
We don't have we don't publish a list. We have, it's kind of a case by case basis. If we get different ones, people proposing different things all the time. We have some that we know will work on these types of things. There's other ones that are kind of, it depends on the roof. It depends on the mansard. But we don't have a published list.
Right. And I guess anybody who wants the specific advice can come get a permit and find out what you'll say, right?
Or they can contact us and ask, and we can give them some possibilities.
Thank you.
Further questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant, please.
Hi, everybody. Travis Hules here. I appreciate you guys taking the time on this, and sorry to have to deal with this. I know Andrea gave a little bit of a timeline here, and essentially
As you begin, sir,
yes,
is your testimony going to be the truth?
yes, it is.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you so much. So here's our original roof here, which was my wife and I bought this 3 years ago, lived down in Soulard for 10 years now. And it was architectural when we bought it. And I just had always kind of been told in Soulard, as long as you're replacing like with like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And like Andrea was saying, it was a very stormy week when this issue was developed. And if you can go a couple slides more, it just started pouring into our building. So that's the old architectural roof. As you can see, it was architectural when we bought the place. So we just assumed that was what it was supposed to be. So then we replaced it with architectural. And on the next slide there, Andrea, I think it's so that's our neighbor 3 doors down that is also architectural, and it has a Soulard Preservation Group sticker on it or plaque. So we're just like, okay, I mean, if they're good, we're good. We just never worried about the roof because we weren't planning on replacing it, for one, because we were hoping they could just go up there and patch it. And when the contractor got over there, I think did that video, did it load in, Andrea?
No, I'm sorry, we couldn't get it.
Okay, no problem. So I mean, the water was just gushing in to the apartment, as Andrea could probably tell you from the video, and it was over the weekend, and we got a hold of a guy, and he was just like, hey, I can come out there and see what I can do with it. He's like, it's in a spot where I can't tarp it. So he's like, I'll try to patch it if I can patch it, or I'll just replace it. He's like, I've got the same type of shingles you have on there now. So I will just, replace it with that and we should be fine. So that's what he came out and did. And like Andrea said, the inspector was out there after he already had it torn off and had it halfway back on and more rain was coming. And, obviously he didn't want to leave the building just open. So he went ahead and finished. And then I don't know exactly where the miscommunication came from as far as the work not being done because the inspector was out there and saw it finished. But once I got informed on it, then I took over because contractors, as most of you know, aren't the best with communication. So Andre has been great to work with and trying to help me get this sorted out. And I'm just trying to get it squared away. And I just didn't understand why my building wasn't okay when this one is 3 doors down from me. And then if you go, on the next couple slides, that's around the corner from me on 9th and Barton, same style roof with architectural. That's on 8th Street architectural. So I was just kind of confused or didn't understand why all these roofs were okay. And when mine was already architectural and then replaced it with architectural, it wasn't okay. And like I said, I know in an ideal world, we would have gotten a permit in advance, but it was leaking like crazy. And the guy just came out in between storms and was able to repair it real quick. So I apologize for that, but just hoping, since there's other roofs on the same block as me that are the same and have been there for forever, and ours has been there for a long time, that we can let this be okay, since that's how it was to begin with. So that's all I've got.
Commissioners, questions for the appellant?
Sorry, I got dropped. Are we doing questions?
We are of the appellant.
Okay. Could I ask one?
Yes, please.
Oh, thanks. Do we have an idea cost-wise? I mean, if this were to get denied and you had to redo the shingles, sort of what you're looking at in terms of cost?
I mean, the shingles themselves, I think were 2,000 or so. And then I don't know exactly. I'm going to say 2,000 to 3,000, something in that ballpark.
Okay.
And just, this might be more of a question for staff, just to clarify, a permit was never applied for this project?
It was applied for after it was
It
done.
was after the fact. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Mr.
Say
Chairman,
again?
I have a question for the appellant.
Sure.
So I know you said you thought you could go back with what you already had, and some of your examples show something, a palette you thought you could work in, but you did change the profile from the 3-tab to what's there now. I just wonder what your thought was on that. If you thought that was in keeping with what was existing. Thank you.
Do you mean the color palette? Is that what you're referring to?
The variation of size of the shingles is different from what was there when you started.
Oh, I thought it was pretty similar. If you go in that zoomed in picture, I mean, it was the one that's a little closer. I'm not sure if it was the first one, that one there. I mean, I don't know if you're able to zoom in on that, Andrea, but it's architectural there. And I mean, as far as I was told, it was the same style shingle as what we went with on this new one.
Okay. But it's not a 3-tab shingle, correct, right?
I'm not sure what 3-tab is, but it was architectural to begin with, and then it's architectural now is what I've been told.
Okay, thank you.
Ms.
Can I-
Gagan, did you have something to add?
Yes, I just want to say that you can find non-compliant examples of mansard roofs in Soulard, but I would say the vast majority of the mansards in Soulard do have compliant either shingles or slate. And the examples that were shown, one of those was a new construction, which doesn't have the same requirements as historic mansards. Two of those did not have permits through the Cultural Resources Office. And the other one was also like a 1994 construction, and there's been no roofing permits since then. So none of those were approved by our office except for the new construction.
Is there anyone signed up to speak?
No.
Okay, sir, have you completed your appeal?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Allen, have you got a motion?
Yes, sir. Not to be the bearer of bad news, but I will move that the Preservation Board uphold the director's denial of this application, as this was installed without a permit and the roofing does not comply with the Soulard Neighborhood Historic District standards.
Is there a second? Chair seconds the motion for discussion. Commissioner Allen?
Well, I think the staff review of those slides that we saw from the appellant really says a lot. You know, those are not good basis for making this decision. We would need to look at other historic buildings with mansard treatments, and this doesn't meet the standards. It's a pretty cut and dry issue in my mind. And while it hurts to make someone pay to reshingle their roof, could have been avoided with consultation with the office or a permit. So I just think we need to be consistent on these issues.
Further discussion among commissioners?
Yeah, I want to chime in.
Go ahead.
This is hard for me because yes, the permit situation, I mean, you know, we need a permit. But on the opposite end, I think, I mean, it already had that on there before, and there's several other properties that have the same thing. It just, so if we're talking about consistency, I don't know how fair it is. I understand rules are rules, but at the same time, there's a bunch of people in this neighborhood that are the same thing, and this was already on there. So I think I would veer toward allowing him to keep on the roof because I think the standards are broken in both directions, and I don't want him to pay extra money. So, I mean, I would understand if he was the only person that stuck out in this area, but if everyone else is sticking out too, I lean toward that, even though I know he didn't pull the permit in time, but that's just, I guess I'm thinking in realtor terms. If I bought a house or sold a house and I didn't know this and I thought it was the same, and I had a city inspector come out and look at all this stuff and so on and so forth, that's my perspective. So
I have a comment for staff actually, because now I'm looking at the relevant legislation. And the section had a comment that said mansard roofs with composition shingles existing at the time of implementation of these standards may continue to be covered with new composition shingles. So,
Well, there have to be composition shingles that meet the standards. So there are composition shingles that are slate line, which meet those standards.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Richardson, had you finished your point?
I'm done. Okay, but it doesn't. Then it's, well, okay, but then Andrea, it says those slate or synthetic slate shingles are more compatible with the original character of the building. It doesn't say that you have to do new composition shingles that are.
Well, it does, and above that, it says composition shingles would replicate the proportions of slate shingles.
But if he was doing that, you wouldn't need the comment. Because that says like 201.5 says I can do composition shingles which replicate the proportion of slate shingles. And there's a comment that says, hey, you could do composition shingles if they're existing at the time of implementation of these standards. So I'm confused.
Well, I guess we will disagree on our interpretation.
I think it's contradictory and we should be able to keep them.
Chairman, if I could chime in as well, it's the alderman for the area and I live up the street. I'm familiar with the property and the work these homeowners have put in. And it sounds like, this was maybe done in a hurried fashion with bad weather coming. Of course, I'd prefer in the future, please pull permits, but I don't have a major problem with this. It obviously didn't draw the ire of the Soulard Restoration Group either. They didn't bother to submit. I mean, they get the agendas, they know what to do. They didn't submit any comments other than, one member submitting an email. So, I'm okay with letting this one, letting this appeal be granted, given the circumstances.
Thank you.
And I would just add that I would veer in Alderman Cota's direction, but the patterning, the variegated patterning of shingles here is not consistent with what was removed or with any historic slate patterns found in the Soulard built environment. We see this stuff being sold all the time today, and it's supposed to look like slate, but it's really without historic precedent. And of course, I'm the architectural historian drawing the line there, but so be it.
And Jack, aren't you concerned that this could open the gate to anybody could just do whatever they want and say, oh, I forgot? And then the same thing with Tiffany, aren't you concerned that what if I bought a home in that neighborhood and I did follow the rules, and then this guy down the street can just break them because, we've got a little loophole,
Oh, I think Commissioner Clean, that's a good point. And that's why we have an appeals process, right? I mean, these are sort of taken on a case by case basis because we're granting, and if we were to grant an appeal, which is not a guarantee in this circumstance, that doesn't mean we'd have to do that in every circumstance forward.
Yeah.
I think that's based on the applicant's circumstances, and what I've heard from Mr. Hules is it sounds like maybe he had not a great contractor, but he's tried to work with the city and apply, and he's here today, and I got I think fairly reasonable explanation for why he chose these particular shingles. So yeah, I think if this was a huge issue for the neighborhood, they would have raised it, and they haven't. And I think their silence does say something.
I agree with Jack, and I think every situation, it can and cannot fall into a slippery slope as we see different people come in front of the board. And Jack pointed out a good point. The weather situation, I mean, that's a rough situation. You've got to do what you've got to do. And I'm not saying that's correct, but I think in this particular situation, I veer to say that he should be able to keep it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioners have comments? Okay, commissioners, there's a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded. The motion is to deny the appeal. Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no on that motion?
It's the motion was to deny his appeal. Is that right?
Yes.
No.
Commissioner Colleen, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Commissioner Robinson, do you vote yes or no? Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamaker, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Alderman Coder, do you vote yes or no?
No.
The chair abstains on this vote. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's, 1 yes, 1 absent, 1 abstention. The motion fails. Alderman Coder, have you got a motion?
Yes, I move to overturn the director's denial and allow applicant to keep the shingles as installed.
Chair seconds the motion for discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. On this motion, Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Colleen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Commissioner Hamaker, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Alderman Coder, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
The chair abstains on this vote. Commissioners, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent, 1 abstention. The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Okay,
Is that all you need
Commissioners.
from me, or can I hop off?
Well, you've got to go take those shingles off, right? Nah, just kidding. Move along.
Thank you all very much. And I'm not sure if you guys had anything to do with the speed bump getting put out in front of us, but if you did, we greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys for all your work.
Thank you. Good luck.
Mr. Chair, before we go into the next agenda item, I just wanted to let people who joined the meeting after we began, let them know that the meeting is being recorded. And if there's an agenda item on which they wish to speak, to please put their full names and the address of the agenda item in the chat, and we will call on them when we get there.
Commissioner Robinson, have you arrived yet? Okay, apparently still not. Commissioners calling the next agenda item, 1712 South 9th Street.
Okay, Bob Bettis with staff. Good afternoon to everyone. Need to enter in ordinances 64689 as amended by 64925, which is our enabling ordinance. Soulard's local historic district ordinance, which is 57078 as amended by 62382. My PowerPoint, my presentation, and my staff report.
Thank you. Is your testimony going to be the truth?
Of course, as always. Okay.
I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, it will be 100% the truth. I swear to you, Richard, it will. Okay, so I have the first of 2 awning projects. This is at 1712 South 9th Street. It is for Carson's. It is in Soulard. The proposal is to replace the current awning with a larger awning that would span nearly the entire length of the front facade, covering up several openings. So this is the current picture. Sorry. Here is some context. As I'm sure we know where we are, we're just to the south of the market. Here's some street level context, looking north and to the south. This is a close-up shot of the current awning, which is in obviously a little rough shape. To note right now off the top, the current awning is not a compliant awning. Awnings in the Soulard Historic District are supposed to cover the individual opening and match that shape. Obviously, this awning was installed quite some time ago, predates, I believe, the current set of design guidelines, but it spans 3 openings. But it was grandfathered in, allowed to stay as is. The new awning, this is kind of more for a perspective shot of what's coming. The new awning is roughly this wide. I don't have a good rendering showing the proposed awning's width, but this shows you how wide it will project from the building. The depth, excuse me. So this is the proposed awning. As you see, it's roughly twice the size of the current awning. It spans to the north and it covers additional openings. It's made of fabric, which complies. The signage complies. The issue that against the code is that it covers multiple openings versus a single as required by the code. So again, briefly, in the code itself, as I said before, it needs to cover an individual opening and not multiple. This current awning was grandfathered in. So given that, staff is recommending that the board uphold the director's denial. I do have correspondence from Michael Pastore with the SRG, who is in support of the director's denial. They state that, like I said before, the current awning is grandfathered in. It was here before, but since the new awning will span several openings, they cannot support the proposal. So the SRG is not in support of the proposal as submitted.
Is that it?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Did the SRG have any suggestions on what they'd like to see?
No, there was not. I mean, I can read it to you verbatim if you'd like to see. It was a very basic email just stating that I can read it for you if you'd like.
That'd be great.
I'm sorry.
Please, that'd be great.
Yeah, it says the plan review team of the SRG has examined proposed plans for expanded awning at the Business Carson's at South 9th Street. We note the following. The present awning does not conform to the historic standards for Soulars, but is grandfathered in. The proposed new awning also does not conform to the standards. In general, the standards state that awnings must cover only window and door openings and follow the shape of those openings, and further, not cover across whole building facades. We confirm that this facade is early to mid 20th century vintage, but nevertheless, the standards still apply. Therefore, SRG cannot support the proposal as shown in the renderings.
Thank you.
Further questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
The applicant is here.
Mr. Dempsey?
Yeah, Mr. Dempsey, are you muted? Yeah, there you are. Mr. Dempsey,
Nope, he's still muted.
I'm trying to ask him. There he goes.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay. This is my first Zoom meeting. I'm having a little trouble here.
You're doing great. Tell us your name.
Yes, sir. My name is Michael Dempsey. I'm the managing officer at Carson Sports Bar and Restaurant.
Is your
I wanna say-
testimony going to be the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It will be the truth.
What would you like us to do?
Yes, sir. I want to say thank you for taking the time to hear us out today. My family's had Carson's for approximately 22 years now. I have been there since 2011. Currently, it's my mother, Sandra, and I that run the business. It was formerly my father, Ron, who passed away in 2010. Obviously, we're here because our permit was denied for the awning that we ordered through Lawrence Fabric. We're hoping that we could explain maybe a couple of things that you all might reconsider issuing the permit so we could have it installed. Number one, we designed this awning first and foremost to shelter our customers from the elements. We've recently seen an uptick in business, and frequently we hold the entrance to the establishment because we don't have any more room inside and we don't want to become over capacity. So a lot of times we've been making a single file line down the building. Unfortunately, while these customers are waiting for admittance, the current awning, it's just not long enough to shelter everyone from the weather. We also designed it for not only visibility for the business, but also it would have a nice address marking on there, which we believe is a good thing for the neighborhood. It's a safety thing. If you don't know exactly where you're at, you see a nice large address on the awning as well. So it's also to beautify the front of the building for sure, but it's also for the visibility as well. Also, the current awning hanging in front of the business, I believe it was brought up, is in quite poor condition at this time. I not only think it makes the business look bad, but it kind of makes the block look bad. I was trying to maybe just kind of do a little something nice, a little bit more elaborate. I think it would beautify the neighborhood myself. But when we approached Lawrence with this project, I spoke with the designers and the frontline people at Lawrence. They said they've been doing this over 80 years, and they expressed no concern with the design. And they stated, from what we observe around the neighborhood, I think it's going to be consistent with other businesses and their awnings and what they've done in the past. So hopefully, if we're going with consistency and the other businesses, maybe we could reconsider this, or even come to some compromise. But if I were to put individual awnings on the front of the building, we'd probably have 9 or 10 of them out there. I'm not sure exactly how that would look. But that's pretty much what I have for you all. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me today. I believe Dave from Lawrence Fabric, he might be present here as well and have some added comments.
Dave, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. And I expect to speak the truth here. Yeah, support Carson's. As he mentioned, we did apply for a permit. During that permitting process, there's been a run on materials. Decided to go ahead and awning for for Carson's. This awning is currently built. It's sitting in our warehouse. We felt confident based on prior awnings that we built over the years that this would be approved for yard. Unfortunately, we were wrong. I was going to ask the board if they could help me understand when the new current set of guidelines were established, so I can go back and teach my staff and team to help better understand the law, Soulard. As the owner of Carson's mentioned too, I feel, like I've spent all this time with him and I've, accepted deposits from him and kind of been stringing him along here, that I owe it to him to come up with a design you guys would approve. So if I could get feedback from you guys to present another design, whether there's this awning similar to what's on the north side of the same street, or if we actually up on the second story at every opening of the window with the windows and doors on the first floor. If you look at that sign to the left side, I believe it's actually a window there. So talking about, I don't know, maybe 3 of brick additional coverage on this and the current configuration, but just looking for some direction on the board on how we can help solve Carson's with keeping people dry while they wait to enter the facility. That's all I have.
Commissioners, questions for the applicant or the applicant's fabricator?
I've got a question, Chairman.
Sure.
Guys, thanks for being here. Mike, I'm obviously very familiar with your bar, one of the best establishments we've got in Soulard. So, I don't want you to feel like you're getting picked on. This debate's been raging for a couple of months now since Goshen Coffee went to open in the old Soulard Coffee Garden and wished to do a larger awning and were denied. I mean, I know you want a larger awning. That seems to be the sticking point with the neighborhood, having these continuous awnings. I think you're right. I think putting individual awnings over each entryway looks crazy, but apparently that's what the code actually requires. In this scenario, would you be willing to just replace the fabric on your existing grandfathered in awning and keep it the same size?
Yeah, that was actually discussed with Lawrence Fabric. They took a look at the entire frame that as well, and it also appears to be in some rough shape. And
Okay.
They highly recommended that a new frame for sure be installed there. That's why we came up with this other plan.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I'd certainly be supportive as a board if we were willing to, I guess since you're replacing the framing, that's what triggered the permit. That's why you need the permit. I think if you're replacing the grandfathered awning with an existing awning of the same size and sort of configuration, I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. It's the expansion that they're trying to, I guess, crack down on as a neighborhood. And I think this is a section of our code that needs to be updated and looked at pretty seriously.
Yes, sir. And yes, I would consider that if that was a default option to just replace the existing awning frame and fabric there to keep it the same width, length, and so forth. Of course, that would be considered. I would have to say, again, there are several businesses that I have observed, and no, I unfortunately do not have any photographs, but we thought that we were being very consistent with what other businesses were doing in the area. They obviously do not adhere to these standards that we're speaking of right now.
No, yeah, I think that's one of the issues, Mike, is basically everyone's got a non-compliant awning.
Bob Bettis?
Yes.
So if that were in fact a proposal before you, what would you say?
Well, if it was a straight recover, we could approve it because it's grandfathered in. I think we have to discuss it internally if it's an issue where the frame were to come down and be replaced, because by the code, then once you remove a non-compliant feature in its entirety and then you put it back up, then you've lost that kind of grandfathered, status. So I don't want to just speak off the cuff and say that it would be fine to replace the entire frame. Yeah, that's something definitely the board could, could consider.
Okay,
If I might add something, and Bob, this is sort of, I'm going to try to frame this in a question. When you say that at some point in the history of this building, there was a more open storefront that was altered to what we see now?
Well,
Can see a Hatter up there in this picture, and
yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah,
I
again,
mean, this is very strange what we have
So
here. So
it's a
if we,
it's a newer, I'm sorry, I mean, no, talk over you, I apologize. It's a
No, I
newer
know.
building, so it's potentially, it possibly could look like this. I would need to do more research and because it's been modified heavily, so it's really hard to tell for sure what was there prior.
so Mr. Dempsey said it was his desire to improve the looks of this place. I would think a more open storefront across there. I know that's a lot more money, but if we were to stretch a storefront from where the current awning starts on the right all the way over to the Carson sign on the left, I would think this board would see that as one large opening, and then an awning could go over it, possibly similar to the neighbor to the north here. I think it's got a big long awning on it, but I don't know if you guys want to invest that kind of money. The other thought is a balcony gets introduced. It's an awning, but I know we've got to find a model example for that. So just throwing out ideas. Spending other people's money. That's what architects do.
is there anyone else signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Commissioners, anything else to add before I ask for a motion? Okay. Commissioner Killeen, do you want to make the motion?
No, sir, I don't.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you want to make the motion?
Not really, because
Commissioner Allen, do you want to make the motion?
Oh, wow. It's not a good day so far for me in Soulard motions, but I would just move that the preservation board uphold the director's denial because this doesn't comply with the well, we can go to discussion. I'll leave it there.
Is there a second? Chair seconds the motion for discussion. Commissioner Allen, begin the discussion.
Well, I guess I see consensus on this board for replacing the existing awning and frame. Now, that might not be something the staff would recommend to us, but if it were to come here on a preliminary basis, I think it's pretty likely that would be approved. So if that's the direction we're going, then I see we do need to uphold this denial and then get the applicant back for a review of that plan.
maybe, I don't know. I feel like I'm being very empathetic today, but can we come up with the conclusion or a solution that everyone's gonna be happy about?
I mean, the thing is, I feel like our role here would be to approve that long awning or to deny it. And it doesn't sound like the restoration group or the aldermen are that supportive of the long awning. That's how I'm reading it.
I guess as I have a question maybe for Mr. Allen or for staff attorneys even. I mean, if we were to modify and I guess Mr. Allen's motion and overturn the denial and then just simply put in their parameters saying, and you must replace the awning with a new awning of the same size and materials, could we save a few months of the applicant going back to the drawing board, coming back to this board again months down the road?
That would be fair. Can we uphold the denial by the foot?
I would think we uphold the director's denial, but we give staff direction that we are supportive of an application that would allow the existing awning to be replaced in the same width length configuration.
Bob, is that,
Yes,
that-
I agree with Mr. Richardson.
Bob, is that enough of a hint for staff?
Yeah, I'd like this direction, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, commissioners. Does anybody else wish to speak to it? If not, I'll call a roll. Commissioner Richardson, the motion on the floor that's been made and seconded is to deny the appeal. Do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Colleen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, now present and welcome, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes. Am I muted? Oh, no. I'm not muted. Wait, I'm sorry. Can you reread the motion?
The motion is to deny the appeal.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm registering you as a no vote. Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Gilbert, are you still present?
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
She is gone.
Commissioner Hammaker. Alderman Coder, are you present? No, no. Do you vote yes or no? I can see you.
I'm
I know you're
present.
present.
I guess no, but I want to make a new motion, but I guess we'll wait and see if I can still do that. No.
Okay. The chair abstains on this. There are 4 yeses, 2 nos, 1 absent and an abstention. The motion carries. Thank you, commissioners.
I have to say something. Sir, we have a miscount on your motions. Can you?
Do we?
I apologize. Yeah,
I've
Who
got
are the two
Richardson,
noes?
Colleen, Robinson, and Allen as yeses. I've got Hamilton and Coder as no. I've got Gilbert as absent and myself as abstaining.
Just
Is that correct?
verifying. Okay,
Is that correct?
you guys got it? Okay, we're okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just verifying.
Okay. The next agenda item is 4142 Flora.
Well, I'm sorry, was there gonna be another motion made or it was alluded to by Alderman Coder?
This matter is concluded.
Okay,
Well, with the comment that we all had consensus that if they came back with one that was in the same exact configuration, we would recommend that.
That is correct, and staff agreed.
want to verify by motions. We're not, because Alderman Coder had mentioned making another motion, so let's make sure we're okay. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Okay. Next up is 4142 Flora Place. This is in Shaw. Again, it's Bob Bettis with staff. I swear to tell the truth. We'll enter in 64689 as amended by 64925. The Shaw ordinance, which is 59400, my staff report, a PowerPoint, and the presentation. Okay. This is the property in question. The garage is located, as you can see on the aerial shot here, in the rear of the property. The proposal is to replace the original garage doors with new doors that don't replicate the original. You can see from this photograph here on the left that there is a direct line of sight to the street. The garage is slightly offset from the garage, allowing a shot back to the garage from the street. Here is context looking north, east, and west. We all know Flora Place, lovely street. So these are 2 shots of the garage in question from the sidewalk and the street. As you can see, that it is visible, so it is offset from the house. On the right, you have a close-up shot of the current doors. They're a folding variety. They're apparently in various states of disrepair, and the owners want to replace them with the door on the left, so they can use it for actually storing a vehicle. Staff had offered different suggestions for trying to retain the current doors, fix them in place, changing how they swing. But talking to the contractor, they said that really there's no feasible way of maintaining the current doors and to get the usage that the owners would like. So looking at the code specifically, When it comes down to this, it comes down to its appearance. And letter D in details, it does state that they want to try to maintain the details in the original form, if at all possible. Obviously, the new door on the left has a different window configuration. The panel configuration below the windows is also different. So staff believe that does not comply with the standards in that regard. I do want to note quickly in the findings and conclusions, due to my cut and paste error, I apologize. I note the first point in the conclusions that it's a site for fencing. Ignore that. Obviously, that is incorrect, and I apologize. So, given the difference in appearance, staff is recommending that the board uphold the director's denial of the new door. You were given an email today. The Shaw Neighborhood Group is in support of the applicant, as well as Alderman Rice. She's also in support of the applicant's proposal. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions, commissioners?
One question, Bob, are these doors beyond repair? Are they severely damaged? I'm just curious. Didn't see that in the report.
You know, I've spoken to the contractor who stated that, you know, they've been repaired several times over the years, and just, you know, they can't remain in place and then to allow a vehicle to enter the garage anymore. They don't have a functional way of retaining them and to you know, use them in a manner that will open correctly for a vehicle. I guess over the years they've been kind of held together, you know, by repairs, both small and large, but they're not repairable any longer.
Common problem. Thank you.
Bob, Mike here. Did they show you any examples that were closer in form to what's there? Because this isn't.
So I did speak with the applicant, the contractor a few times, trying to get different designs. The custom door that would come closer to this was out of their price range. So we went round and round. We looked at different varieties to try and find one that's closer to it, but we could not find one that really replicates it without going the custom route. And then once you went the custom route, then that's when the prices, I think, essentially doubled. The applicant, the owner is here, they can speak to that, but there was an issue of cost to get that exact replication.
Thank you.
Further questions? Alderman Coder, just note, you're still only going to get one vote, even though there are now two coders present.
Thanks, Chairman. One vote's fine.
Okay.
I figured this might help put him to sleep. No offense. Wonderful presentation, Bob.
On Bob's behalf, none taken. Okay, is the appellant present?
Yes, the applicant is here.
Okay. Let's hear from them.
Hi, everyone. This is Jack Burchett.
Hello, is your testimony going to be the truth?
It is.
Okay, proceed.
All right. So starting off, just like to thank the board for, allowing me to present my appeal. I really appreciate your time and the opportunity to do so. So thank you to those folks that are listening here today. So I'll try to keep this brief. When my wife and I bought the property at 4142 floor, it was in pretty steep repair. There was extensive water damage on the upper floors. The floors themselves were uneven, had to be jacked up. All the existing electric and plumbing, what was left of it, had to be entirely replaced. We were basically starting from scratch with only the outer shell of the home being salvageable. Even the banks we were working with deemed the property condemned, so they didn't offer financing. But my wife and I were still committed. We were drawn to the Shaw neighborhood due to its historical nature. We loved, the uniqueness of each home individually while appreciating the historical theme that they collectively comprise. So that's why when we renovated the home, we chose to do historical renovation that allowed us to bring the utilities into this century while still maintaining as much the originality as possible. So I think, a good example of this, and I don't know if Bob can go back in that picture, is the windows. We got several estimates to replace the windows because some of them are in okay shape, but most of them need to be refinished and reinstalled to at least restore their function as windows. But instead of having them all replaced, we actually chose to have some custom made wooden storm windows put in place. So from the inside, you still get the appearance of the original windows, and then from the outside, we think that also gave us a nice nod to the historical nature of the house. So turning to the garage, it's a similar story. It's a beautiful structure, materials matching those of the house. The guy that built it originally was a street paver in St. Louis. So the garage and the house are actually street paper bricks, which are 1.5 times larger than normal bricks. So a little fun trivia there for you. But the roof was rotting, the floor is cracked due to the settling from inadequate water management. The drain in front of the garage was a 3-inch drain, and one leaf from our magnolia tree would cover it. And the rain that we get nowadays seemingly just overdid it. So that water would just sit there, and the corners of the you can see on the measurements there that one corner is 8 foot 6.5 inches, the other's 8. So in all corners of the garage, it's sunk and floor's cracked. The windows, same story, rotting and falling apart. So when we bought it, the doors are actually resting on themselves. The building had brought them down. They weren't even hung appropriately anymore. So that's why they sustained all that water damage over the years. And that's why they're beyond repair at this point. So, we've replaced the roof. We've tuck pointed the whole building. We'd like to now move on to, what's left and replace the doors, replace the windows, and actually dig out that floor and replace it as well. So it can be a usable garage. But yeah, the quote to do a custom made garage door from the same folks that we found this one, which was the closest we could come to, was more than double. The one that you're looking at right now is $13,500 garage door, so we thought we were already making a reasonable attempt and kind of stretching the budget a little bit just with that one. The custom made one was $27,000. And just for reference, to replace those doors as they exist with wooden doors was $42,000. And that would be the entire scope of the project. So, what we were looking at is basically spending that money to replace those exactly, or actually replace the door, the windows, and the floor, and actually finish off the garage, which we'd like to do so we can move on to all the other projects we have around these old homes, as I'm sure many of you guys might know. So that's why I'm here today. I think with the support of our neighbors, our Alderwoman, the Shaw Neighborhood Association, I'm just asking the Preservation Board to consider approving our honest attempt to improve our garage that, while not an exact match, is a nod to the original construction and allows us to fully utilize that space as intended. Thank you.
Commissioners, questions? Just out of curiosity, Bob, is there anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Commissioner Killeen, have you got a motion?
Just before I do, to clarify with staff, what did we hear from the neighborhood and the alderman?
Support.
Was my question heard?
I'm sorry. No, sir. I didn't hear your question. I apologize.
Oh, hey, Bob, what did we hear from the neighborhood and the alderman again?
They're both in support of the project as submitted.
Okay. I move that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial and allow this garage door to be installed as presented.
Second.
We all second.
Who's our official second?
Who was the first seconder?
Richardson.
I think it was David.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Well, it's nice that it's here before it's been installed. So I really thank the applicant for that.
Commissioners, there's a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded. I'm going to call a roll. Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Colleen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Alderman Coder, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
The chair abstains on this vote. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, 1 abstention, 1 absence, and the motion carries. Commissioners, I'm going to call a 5-minute break now, and we'll be back then.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, let's start to reconvene.
Yeah, you have to keep scrolling to the top or watching your screen to see if a blue thing pops up. Not sure why that is.
So we're all set when you are, sir.
Did I say that out loud or did I just dream it?
I'm sorry.
Calling agenda item E, 2006 Russell.
Okay. Once again, Bob Bettis with staff. I will tell the truth. I need to enter in ordinances 64689 as amended by 64925. The McKinley Heights ordinance, which is 67901. My staff report, PowerPoint, and my presentation to the board. So what we have is a question regarding the siding on an approved garage. You see on the right, the house is on the left. This is the garage on the right, obviously. Back in May of 2021, the owner applied for a permit to construct a two-story garage. That garage was to be clad in 4-inch siding, and the approved plans reflected that. The issue is that the applicant chose to clad the building in a hardy panel, which was not on the approved plans. We received a Citizens Service Bureau complaint, and I reached out to the owner and have been working with him since. Giving him some options on how to rectify the issue, put siding at least on some visible sides, just trying to reach a middle ground. The applicant has decided to try and pursue a variance for what he has installed, and that's why we are here today. So go just some quick photographs here. Here is your context. There is a line of sight from Mississippi down the alley to the building in question. And that's the view that you see here. You see it stands out pretty much from Mississippi. These are copies of the approved elevations. So you see it was meant to be covered in a lap siding. And these are current photographs of the current condition. As you can see, it's definitely a stark difference to what was approved. It really isn't appropriate in terms of standard garage construction. And again, it was not what was approved. Let's see. So again, looking at the code, and for garages specifically, it does say garages should be sided in a 4-inch cover siding of wood, vinyl, or aluminum, 4-inch beaded tongue and groove, or brick veneer. But obviously, this is not what was approved. So, given that, staff is recommending that the board uphold the director's denial of the new application to retain the hardy panel siding. The neighbor group is not in support of the project, and that was sent to you today, but I believe they are here to speak on the item as well. Any questions?
Questions, commissioners?
Yeah, this Commissioner Richardson, did they do the windows wrong too?
The windows are wrong. I think, it was not per the approved plans, but when you get right down to it, had it been submitted like this, we probably would have approved them because they don't really, they're not really contrary to any part of the code specifically. So it's different, yes, but when you call the code for garages, it doesn't really specify the kind of window,
Thank you.
sir.
Further questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Oliver is here. Mr. Hamlin, there he is.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
I can. Good afternoon. Is your testimony going to be the truth?
Yes, sir.
Proceed.
Okay, good evening to everyone. It's a bit of lengthy history surrounding the property. So bear with me if it's a little lengthy. But so not in order, but the original plans that were approved they were a 4-inch hardy lap siding. But now, listening to Mr. Bettis, I'm hearing that hardy lap is not even on the approved list. Is that correct or no?
I mean, hardy is not called out per se, but it is an acceptable material for siding, for that lap siding. We always approve hardy. It's like a wood substitute essentially.
Okay, yeah, because I don't, just want to make sure I'm interpreting what I read correctly. So it's not on the list. See, wood, vinyl, finished aluminum, beaded tongue and groove, brick veneer. But okay, so initially, when I applied, the project was denied for height issues, and I was granted an opportunity to scrap my original design, and I was encouraged to work with the neighborhood association. So at that point, I was in constant communication via email and meetings in person with Rocco Dana, who I was told is the head of the neighborhood association. In summary, he encouraged me and pretty much directed me to not do vinyl siding. This is my first rodeo doing a project in a historical neighborhood. I was unaware of all of the guidelines. And when he said, do not do vinyl siding, I thought he was the governing power. So that's why we submitted in hardy, 4-inch hardy lap siding, which is substantially more expensive than the vinyl. So I'd already incurred a bigger expense thinking I was complying to the regulations of the neighborhood and the city. So then the project was done during COVID. At the time, I think it was around maybe 2020, when I finally was able to get approval to start working. I couldn't source the hardy lap siding. So I just assumed, and I apologize for making the assumption, that since the hardy panel was the same material, which is fiber cement, that's the 4-inch lap, that would be okay. And that's what I put on the addition on the main building in the front. So it was not done to undermine the code. I just thought it would be okay since it was the same material and it wasn't vinyl. That's pretty much it.
Questions from commissioners? Okay, Bob, is anybody signed up to speak?
First up is Jen Sonemacher, our maker.
Yes, my testimony will be the truth.
Proceed.
I went by and looked at it. I had noted that it was panels and not horizontal boards. It is rough in appearance. The photos really don't do the justice to it. It's not a smooth look. It looks like panels put up there, and there's some sort of filler that holds them together. My concern when I was there today and not being a building materials expert, that is the truth. I noted that some of the joints have already separated. And primarily at the lower level. So I'm assuming that water runoff is contributing to that. My concern is that, lap board would have precluded that from happening. And I'm afraid that this particular application will deteriorate in an expedited fashion from what one would expect from lap board application.
Is there more, sir?
No, I'm basically done.
Okay, thank you very much. Bob, who else?
Rocco Dana.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rocco Dana. I head the development committee for McKinley Heights Neighborhood Association. Right off the bat, I'd like to address some comments that were made by the appellant.
Mr.
I
Dana,
never claimed to be,
is your testimony going to be the truth?
yeah, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Proceed.
I never claimed to be the authority or head of the neighborhood association. As I said, I am head of the development. I make recommendations that we will back, the neighborhood will support. I did not direct him to do hardy siding. I recommended that he do hardy siding as is a superior product that would add value to his building. As someone who's practiced architecture for 10 years in the public realm, and someone who practices it now, and I'm a developer, and I rehab historic buildings, and have done dozens of garages in McKinley Heights. Actually, this is my trying to help. I'm trying to make good recommendations here. I'm sorry that was misinterpreted. There is a good little backstory as well. The appellant first proposed a three-story garage. This went to the Board of Adjustment as that is not allowed by zoning code. The lot is 24 feet wide, which is one of the thinnest in McKinley Heights. Also, the McKinley Heights Neighborhood Association wanted to have the dilapidated garage that there was existing rehabbed. So we moved to compromise with the developer that we could support a two-story garage, one level residential, one level garage that had hardy siding on it. And that was part of that was permitted and part of the contract documents. Those documents were approved by CRO, approved by Building Commission, and frankly, that is what the drawings are, and that is, what was intended to be there. We request that the Cultural Resources, the Preservation Review Board support the historic code and the recommendation of the director.
Anybody else?
Yep, Latham Bell.
Mr. Bell? Mr. Bell, are you here?
You're muted.
Hello.
There you
Good
go.
evening, everyone.
Mr. Bell, will your testimony be the truth?
Yes, my testimony is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Proceed.
So I am driving, so that's why I don't have my camera on, or unless it's on, I don't know. In listening to the different stories about the backstories, all of that backstory is true. Mr. Hamilton went in front of the board the very first time, the Board of Adjustments, and it was not a sound idea to try to go 3 stories, meaning a garage with 2 units above it or 2 levels above it. So he went back to the drawing board, and during the discussion on the second go round, it was clear that he had received a strong recommendation from the McKinley Heights Association, more importantly, Mr. Dana, who was strongly suggesting that he use hardy board. Mr. Hamilton, in trying to appease the association, he tried sourcing the 4-inch lap siding where he was unsuccessful for quite some time because it was COVID. In his finite wisdom, he thought it would be a great idea to use, the 4x8 siding. Okay, that is not in accord with the code. And I listened to the gentleman that spoke after Mr. Hamilton, and he said that it was quickly deteriorating. That's not true. Anyone who's worked with hardy board siding, you would know that lap siding separates over a period of time. Water is supposed to run down the vapor barrier behind the siding, so that is not a problem. But the suggestion that I believe makes the most sense is for Mr. Hamilton to do siding, regular vinyl siding on top of what's there to make it not visible from where it is visible from the street. So that would be about 12 feet. And he does whatever you can see at the garage door, that portion above the garage door, and then to the east side, he goes back 12 feet in vinyl siding. That is my recommendation to resolve this, because the entire building you cannot see from Mississippi, but you can see up to 12 feet. And if you go out there and measure or try to shoot a laser at it, you will see that 12 feet is where it stops at.
Bob, is there anybody else to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, that concludes testimony in this appeal. Alderman Coder, have you got a motion?
Yeah, I move that we uphold the director's denial.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Commissioners, hearing no discussion, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no on the motion before us that's been seconded?
Yes.
Commissioner Colleen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, do you vote yes or no?
Abstain.
Commissioner Hamilton, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Commissioner Allen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Alderman Coder, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
The chair abstains on this vote. There are 4 yeses, 2 abstentions, and an absence. The motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. Calling next, agenda item F, which is 1901 Ann.
That's right. Okay. So this is, sorry, Bob Bettis again with staff, will tell the truth. Enter in ordinances 64689 as amended by 64925, McKinley Heights ordinance, which is 67901, staff report, presentation, and the PowerPoint. We have another awning proposal. This time is to replace this current awning at the church at 1901 Ann in McKinley Heights. The new awning would be a circular awning, which would fit the arched decorative element over the door. Here's your context, little kind of like that southeast edge, northeast edge of the historic district along Graboy. Here's your context. It's a close-up shot of the existing condition. Again, the proposal is to remove the shed awning and to install a round awning. It would fit within the the three wide arch over the door. This is a very basic detail. I don't have a rendering of this one. The new awning would project out about 4.5 feet. The swatch on the right is the color, and you can see it would be a circular arched awning that would be mounted into the mortar joints and not the face brick. The best way to kind of demonstrate what this would look like, this is over at St. Wenceslas, which is down in Benton Park West, which is not a local historic district. Left is before, and obviously on the right is the after, and you get a kind of sense of what this will look like. You know, this is a pointed arch. It does kind of have a monumental feel to it. It does kind of really, it covers up detailing. It does have an odd shape. It really does stand out on a front facade. So this is the best thing I can do to kind of give you an example of what it will look like without having a rendering. Mr. Dana sent in a couple of photographs to kind of illustrate the same point about certain elements of the building, and he'll speak to it in a minute, but this is just another shot of the building itself. And these are two shots, again, one showing the Wenceslas example as well as the current building. McKinley Heights, their code is similar to Soulard in that the awnings have to fit the opening and not surrounding elements. So obviously we have a square door, even though you do have an arched over the top of it. So the proposed awning does not comply, as it would be arched and not square. So given the shape of the awning, staff recommends that the board uphold the director's denial of the application. The McKinley Heights is not in support of the item, but they are here to speak, as well as some of the applicants.
Questions for Bob? Okay, is the appellant present?
Yes,
Okay, sir. Is your testimony going to be the truth?
are you speaking with me?
If you're the appellant, yes, I am.
Mr. Pappas.
Thank you. Yes. It's hard for me to hear the digital speaker sometimes. Yes, this awning that we're proposing to change out, we believe would, naturally enhance the original architecture of the building. And yes, it would be very much like the example of the other church with the Gothic arch, because that Gothic church has square doors or rectangular doors, but yet the awning is following the architecture. So this is what we want to do. And in comparison to the Gothic church, the doors are recessed in farther, making their arch, I would call it, in medium relief. And the St. Michael Archangel Church, the arch, the brickwork that is describing the historic arch is in low relief. But the point I'm trying to make is that both arches are before the door. The door is recessed into the building. So I think, and of course our committee believes that it would be very correct in design and following the original architecture. Thank you. What do you think?
Let's see, commissioners, any questions for the appellant? Okay, let's see, Bob, who's here to speak?
Rocco is here to speak on behalf of the neighborhood again.
Rocco, you're still under oath. Proceed.
Fair enough. Had great conversations with the representative. I think it is Mark here about their proposal. I think it's about finding the right solution, and I do not. The current one is not very attractive. There's no question about that. But it does serve a functional purpose of covering the door and allowing, correct me if I'm wrong, please, the priest to stand outside and do a blessing that he needs to do, was what was told to me. And functionally, an arched awning would actually, I thought about this more, would actually allow more rain to get in because it's arched and it's so much higher, unless the rain was falling directly down, which, you know, it tends not to, and plus your southwest facade. So, you know, on the facade of this building, if you look, could go to that one, Bob. There's a number of horizontals here. There's 3 other horizontals, one at the top of, just underneath the top of the roof, the green roof, and then there's another horizontal just below that white window, and there's an additional horizontal that extends to each side of the brick. The awning here is rectilinear, like those horizontals, and in a architectural sense, that line actually is less obtrusive than what was being proposed, an arched awning. I feel, in my opinion, that the arched awning would detract from the, you know, the beautiful architecture of this. I mean, this is a great building, of this beautiful building. And I think it would, although I think it's an idea, I don't think it's the right solution for this scenario. But I think we can find one that will functionally work for both form and function for them. I look forward to that conversation. Thank you.
Bob, is there anybody else here to speak?
Suzanne Dubois or Dubois?
Hi, that's me. I promise to tell the truth. I would just like to point out that, one, I understand what Mr. Dana is saying, but I just disagree vehemently. And I'm not an architect. I'm just somebody who likes beautiful things. And I think the flat awning just looks, it cuts the building off and it looks odd and weird, and I don't like it at all. And interestingly, the entire building committee agrees. Nobody likes the flat awning. So that being said, I don't suppose you all care, but it just doesn't look right to any of us, which leaves me wondering what on earth could be the correct answer to helping us move forward. We would like the front of the church to look better. We'd like to help the neighborhood look better. We'd like to help the church look better. We're trying to be good neighbors, and we are kind of stumped as to what it is that would look right to you that we could live with as we're paying for it. So.
Yes, another thing to consider is that I believe the committee has ordered new doors, and the new doors are in the historic fashion. So they're replicating the historic doors. And if that's the case, then maybe the arch awning would showcase the historic doors. You know, it's just another way to look at it. As we can see in the image, that a shadow is cast on the doors, and I don't know if that's good or bad. And you know,
it's probably bad, because I think this is the first that Cultural Resources has heard about new doors.
That is very true.
So Bob, if they were to think about new doors, what should they be doing now?
Call me tomorrow first thing so we can discuss their new doors and make sure that they're appropriate to the standards. So Mr. Pappas, please call me tomorrow first thing to discuss your door proposal.
I didn't understand everything.
Please call me tomorrow to discuss your door proposal. Doors require review and compliance with our office, and they must align to the historic district standards as well. So please contact me as soon as you can regarding the doors.
Yes, that's true. Okay, we will submit that.
Do we have any kind of a clock going on for this?
Just the standard appeal date. I mean, they've applied for a permit, so we've denied it. So we're on the standard appeal clock.
So we know that there are doors coming. We
Now
know we know that the proposed awning is non-compliant. We know we'd like to find a solution that addresses both the doors and the awning. Do we have to solve the awning tonight?
Yeah, I guess Barb would probably should chime in just on timing. Barb, what do you think on timing?
Yeah,
Maybe-
I'm going to take a look right now. I'm going to, you won't see me for a second.
Okay, I still see you.
I know, I'm having a computer issue this evening. I'm so sorry.
I'm almost positive you could take on.
Do you want me to tell you when I can't see you anymore?
I will try to use another device here.
Tell you what if we ask the applicant if they would be willing to defer consideration of this appeal until after we've seen the doors? And maybe we could deal with this design issue together. Commissioners, what do you think about that?
Mr. Pappas or Susan?
No, commissioners, what do you
A
think?
commissioner.
Chairman, I would be happy to defer as long as we're not going to run afoul of any time constraints on the appeal. So we could probably take a look at a door and awning proposal together, and maybe it would be helpful to have a more detailed drawing of the awning as well.
I concur, and I know Mr. Pappas, I respect his work, and I know as a student of design, he knows that all adjacency is meaningful, so we need to see the total redesign of this entrance all at once.
Right.
If we can do that in terms of timing with this appeal and the ordinance. But I
Absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement. The doors should have been submitted, and
It was my understanding that the person fabricating the doors was going to submit them. So if they did not, I will get on that immediately.
Maybe we could look at them before they fabricate them.
Right. I will talk to them first thing tomorrow.
Okay.
We're on the right path.
In light of that testimony, Chairman, is that the request of the appellant?
That is my understanding, Barb.
Okay,
That-
thank you.
That the appellant would like to defer consideration of this matter until we can look at the door and the awning together.
yes, I'm in agreement to that.
Do I need a motion for that, Barb, or can I just do it?
Well, that was the appellant's request, so I believe you can just proceed with that. Well, I guess if you wanted to ratify that with the motion, that'd be fine too.
Alderman Coder, would you make a motion to defer consideration of this?
Yes, sir. Let's belt and suspenders this one. I moved to defer consideration of the awning proposal to a date in the future to be determined by appellant and the cultural resource staff.
Per the appellant's request.
Per the appellant's request.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. This matter is deferred. We have one agenda item remaining tonight, and that is a nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. Who's presenting for staff?
Richard, I have to go. I need to run to an appointment. Is that okay?
It is.
Okay, thanks. Bye, everybody.
Aye.
One sec. She's going.
Ms. Gagan, are you going to tell us anything that Amanda would not tell us?
Probably not.
Amanda, would you like just to tell us what this nomination is?
I'm here to sit in. My colleague Rachel Allison, who is on the line, is the one who prepared the nomination. So I will turn it over to her if that's okay.
Rachel, what's up?
Hi there. I'm Rachel Allison. I'm with Resin Preservation. I prepared this nomination. I think that your report kind of summed it up. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have or provide a summary for you if you would like.
Could you go over the criteria that you recommend?
Sure. So I'm proposing to list it in the National Register under criterion A and C, under architecture and commerce. Under architecture for as an example of a purpose-built off-site department store service building, which I know is a mouthful. And then under commerce for its association with the famous bar company of St. Louis.
Commissioners, questions of the preparer?
Does this mean the Goodwill bins are moving?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Further questions? Commissioner Allen, a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that the Preservation Board direct the staff to prepare a report for the State Historic Preservation Office stating the property meets the requirements of National Register Criterion A for commerce and Criterion C for architecture.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who seconded it?
Anthony.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Commissioners, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Hearing objections?
Second.
We stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye all.
I can't find the stop recording button.
I know, I'm not kidding.
I'll do it.